Peace, love, and law to all you beautiful people out there today, man. Welcome to In God We Trust Academy podcast. And as always, we give thanks for you guys' participation in this. And always such a beautiful thing to be able to sit here and share information with you guys and being able to hear you guys' testimonies and answer your questions and things like that, man, is just to see the growth in the people out there. Alrighty, guys. So today we're going to be talking about the private versus the public, and the two systems of the United States. And just a bunch of other things that's going to go along with this, just how to maneuver and refreshing a lot of you guys' mind. And to some of you guys, this will be your first time actually hearing any of this today, but we're definitely going to do our best into delivering what it is that we want you guys to be fully aware of today. All right. So, man, it's been a week for sure. I will say that we've covered a lot and with different things, but I do believe repetition is the best thing for each and every last one of us, especially when you're so accustomed to doing things the way you are doing things. And it's hard to be able to remove your mental state of mind from those things, and also subconsciously being able to reprogram ourselves into being able to fully operate the way that we should operate, right? We have to be able to make that change. And for some, it's hard. And, for some, it's a little bit easier. But like I always say, repetition is the best thing for each and every last one of us. So, alrighty, we give thanks to the Most High for everything that has transpired up until this very moment, guys. Anybody looking for any form of legal advice, please do seek a legal advisor. As for this is for educational and religious purposes only. All right. So, where y'all at? Where y'all dropping in from today? Where y'all tuning in? Drop some ones. Let me know y'all locked in. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. Share with someone. We also got some good things for you guys today as well. So if you stay around long enough, you'll be able to receive something today. Mm-hmm. All right. Happy Sunday to you too as well, Jessica Robles. And peace. Don Allison. Sharon Williams. How you doing out there? Ronald Williams, what's going on? Hope you guys are literally having a great and beautiful Sunday today. All right. So one of the things that is one of the main focuses, especially if you're below like the Bible Belt in the United States of America, but we're just going to say all over. Religion is a very huge thing, right? Religion is very big, very, very big. And the thing about it is, I think that we speak so much about religion and things of that nature to where we fully start removing ourselves from the reality of other things, such as, one, knowing that God is of law, order, and justice. Also, it's been stated that every soul shall be governed, will be under some form of government. You will be subject to some form of government. All right, that's another thing, because God is a God of law, order, justice, grace, mercy, all those things that requires you to have to be when operating as a government and also having a justice system. These things are required, right, to be of law, order, justice, grace, and mercy. Okay? All those things literally have to be within a judicial system in order to carry out righteous judgments and things of that nature, right? But I think that it's been our focus to be so much on religion that we forget that this whole entire thing that we are involved in this thing called life, it is already in the writtenness of who and what we are, what is going on. And for the most part, people have literally stepped away from the self preservation as people, as communities, and being able to thrive as a community. We're watching people singly handpicked by work ethic and things like that, of course, to be considered as the desired leaders from these particular communities. But a lot of us will look and say that the United States or the government or whatever has failed the people. And the truth is, the people have failed the people because the people will holler they're sovereign 1 minute, but in order to be fully sovereign as people, the people are to truly understand and understand the law. And if the people were going to establish the law should be taught in each and everyone's home. When I say law, it could be international law, it could be the constitutional law, it could be dealing with treaty laws, which are also international, things of that nature. Whatever that you may be attached to, because we all have certain type of different situations here in what we call the melting pot in the United States of America. Some of you here have the right to enforce certain treaties, things of that nature. Others have the right to enforce the Constitution. Everyone has the right to enforce the Constitution, international laws, and things of that particular area, right? And the truth is like, are we aware though? I guarantee you, we can do a survey and just go into people's home and ask them about their state constitution, their U.S. Constitution, and if they are a particular group of people who has a treaty attached to, their inheritance, etc. Are they aware of it and how to fully operate that? 90% of the people will not know their rights. And 90% of the people can be aware of the right, but still don't know how to get the remedy or receive a remedy when their rights has been affected. That's a problem for us as people. So it's not that the government, the United States, has done anything to you. It's what we have done to ourselves. One, for being ignorant. Two, just saying, hey, it ain't me. It ain't got nothing to do with me, so I'm going to look the other way. But the truth is, the law applies to all. And if we see someone being and their rights, etc., are literally being damaged and we're watching it happen, someone that sits as a public servant in these particular official government seats, and they are literally using them to cause harm against us as the people, and we watch it. So really, the truth is, you know, it's our fault. Because if they cause harm to them, they also cause harm to you because they literally made an oath to uphold the law. That's what they do. But the people are so far from the law that you have no idea. And the law has always been a thing. Don't act like this is something new. It always has been a thing. Even when you watch in religion and when you go and read about Moses, Moses brought the tablets down, which insinuated on 10 Commandments and so much many more. But that was the law that was going to govern the people, right? And those who chose to remain lawless, who did not choose to subject themselves to this law, were considered to be Gentiles, or sometimes they call them heathens, right? Right now, the people of America are heathens, Gentiles, whatever you really want to call it, because you are so misplaced and outside of the actual law that you're not even aware of it. So when certain things happen, and when people like myself say something about what has happened, y'all are so conformed to say, comply. You should comply to the tyranny, is the way you guys do these things, right? But there's a public side of things and there's a private side of things. When I say public, public has everything to do with operating within the physical capacity of the United States. So anybody that sits in the public service position are literally in the public. Anytime that we enter into public venues, such as courts, etc., that's the public. Anytime that you're seeking any form of benefits from the government, etc., that's the public, right? All of these things are considered to be public, right? The private side is you, the actual living being. And even when we start dealing with the actual straw man, that is part of the public venue for specific reasons. One being commercial reasons. But then you have you as the living being who is private, who has private rights that is fully protected because the Constitution never gave you a right. There's not one law, there's not one treaty, there's not one international document, there's not one constitutional document that has ever given you a right. All of these particular documents that I'm speaking on protects the right that already existed. That's the thing. It protects the right. So when you say constitutional rights, there really is no constitutional rights. You just have rights that is protected by the Constitution. That's why it was established to keep the actual public servants the public servants from literally overreaching into the private capacity of the people. Meaning that I can't just walk up in your house and start searching your whole entire house without having to be able to articulate a form of crime. And even then, I have to have a warrant, okay, of the thing that I'm actually looking for in your home. I just can't go and find other stuff. It has to be specific, exactly why I'm coming there. And it has to be signed by the judge according to the officer that he's applying to go and do so. See what I'm saying? The right always existed, but there's a limitation that's going to, limit the government and protect you. So until they have these things and can show proof and evidence of these things, okay? Now, when we look at it from that point, anything that we allow to happen is just literally our fault because we as the people choose not to assert a right. You can never lose a right, such as breathing. The Constitution protects your right to life. Life includes a lot, though. It's more than breathing. It's shelter, it's food, it's clothing, it's your whole welfare. You know what I mean? Life, when we talk about life. So the right to breathe, you're breathing right now. A government did not give you that right. That is a God-given right. So you breathe. Now, you can choose not to act upon breathing, and you can just stop. There is consequences behind that, but no one can ever take that right away. You see what I'm saying? So my point is this: unless they choose to literally impose upon your right. So your right to life. If somebody wanted to stop you from breathing, they could choke you, whatever the case may be. That is imposing upon your right of life and liberty. So we have to be aware of that. So now we have to assert the right. Now, if somebody was choking you assert, or trying to choke you or take that life, then you assert the right to bear arms in defense and protect yourself. It's a natural order of things. That is a private right in the private capacity that will always exist. Now, if I wanted to use we're going to say my private property in my defense, I ain't even going to call it a gun. I'm just saying my private property. And I'm going to use it in my defense to fully protect myself. Then I do not need a license in my private capacity to do so. Now, if I want to go be an actual officer, or I want to do something in the nature of security business, et cetera, all of that type of stuff, then eventually I'm going to need a license, one, to start the business, two, to be able to carry the gun in form of business, right? That's what I would need. But notice that they call it a firearm. And this firearm is literally a congressional term, a legislative term. So it is a privilege to carry a firearm, whether concealed or not concealed, in these particular states. And they say it's privileged by either legislation and or through the legislation, they make sure that you have to have a license, permission to do something that would be considered illegal if you did not have that particular license, right? See, these are the two things that America, the people, don't know. You're in deception. You're being deceived right now because, one, you don't know your position in what we call the United States of America as people. Who are you? Some of you will be so quick to raise your hand. And we was to be in a stadium of 30-some thousand people and we say, who's here a U.S. citizen? Scream. I guarantee you so many people are going to scream and raise their hand and say, yes, I'm a U.S. citizen. And then if we sit down and fully fact check, but you are who you say you are, that's the number one thing. But if we sit down and really read, then it says in the U.S. Code that a national is a person owing permanent allegiance to a state. And then it says that a U.S. citizen is pretty much a person owing allegiance to the United States. Okay? And they are citizens of the United States and citizens of the state they reside in. Two total different definitions there. One is by right of soil. So by right of soil, you as the living, breathing man or woman, you have just soil, which means by right of soil. Wherever you were born on the territory of the land in the United States of America, in that particular republic state, you shall always be able to leave from that particular soil and return to it. There's not one single individual or government, et cetera, that could ever stop you from doing so unless you commit some form of crime and some form of liberty has to be seized from you based upon committing that crime. But other than that, you have the right to leave your country and return. So as a national of a state, you owe permanent allegiance to. So if you was to go get a passport right now from the United States, it's going to say place of birth, which is your right of soil. And in that right of soil, you have the right to be considered a national. Otherwise, it's going to be presumed that you are a citizen of the United States. Now, the only one that could be a citizen of the United States, meaning the federal jurisdiction, are those who are literally born in federal territory, like Guam, Puerto Rico, things of that nature, right? As well as in the federal district of Washington, D.C. They can be considered citizens of the United States. Now, they got a choice because part of Washington, D.C. sits on Maryland and part of the other part of Washington, D.C. sits on Virginia. That is the soil. The soil was created by God, the land itself. The people had the right to call it, as you see that by religion, in the Bible, it says that Adam was able to name basically person, places, and things. So that is the right of man to be able to consider the soil on which he stands, what he chooses to call. So, but my point in that is saying that now the people who are in Washington D.C. has the right to consider themselves a national of Maryland or a national of Virginia, or they're going to take the presumptions to call you a citizen of the United States. Now, you can have permanent allegiance to Maryland or you can have permanent allegiance to Virginia. Just depends totally up to you. Or by presumption, you are in the federal district and considered a citizen of the United States. Public. So now you either that or you were naturalized, meaning you came from another country and you naturalized into the United States. You know what else naturalizes into the United States? Corporations. All corporations are naturalized into the United States and considered U.S. citizens, and they are citizens of the state they reside in. Simple. So that is why these corporations have the power to sue, be sued, own property, things of that nature. Now, how is it that a corporation, which does not have the same God-given rights that you have, is able to have the same form of standing and capacity as you if you consider yourself as a citizen of the United States? Hope y'all understand what I'm saying right now. Drop some ones. Let me know y'all locked in and up out there. Like, share, and subscribe right quick. We're going to continue. Let me know you're with me, because a lot of people don't know this at all. So we're trying to help you gain an understanding. Okay? So now we know public, we know private. When it comes to our private right, it is not the job of a judge, prosecutor, clerk, or anyone to assert your right. It is only their job to protect it. And it can only be protected if you assert it through the contract. See, contracts is literally consensual, has to be consideration of both parties, right? And all obligations must be fulfilled. Nothing can be hidden at all. There can not be anything hidden. Everything has to be disclosed. So with that being said, what do you know about the contract? So we got 3 contracts here. We got the United States Constitution contract. We have the state constitution contract as well. And then we also have the contract, which is the rules and procedures of the court. Those 3 contracts, you should fully know how to operate. If you can't operate those 3 contracts, that's the problem. We have to know how to operate those 3 contracts, okay? And if you can't, there is no remedy here for you, because everyone's only bound to do that which they declared themselves to do so. So if you can't operate and walk into a courtroom right now and truly understand, because here's the thing, how is it the people going to be the jury and your ass don't even understand the law? A lot of jury can put a lot of people in jail just for the lack of understanding of constitutional rights or how the law even works. You know how many people been beat by an ignorant jury? I'm pretty sure a lot, because 90% of the people in America are ignorant of the law. That's a real thing. And you're like, well, how do you know? Why do you say that? Yeah, look around. Look what's happening. It's easy to see when we watching all of this police brutality and tyranny and everything that's happening, and we're watching it live through these reels and all this stuff. And then you got people in the comments saying the most dumbest shit ever that goes against everything the law says. Everything the law says. Now, are these people stepping in courtrooms and claiming things, and why they getting called sovereign citizen? It's because they're calling you sovereign citizens, guys, is because you think you're above the rule of law, and you're not. Nobody is. If you stay within the rule of law, then they're not going to call you a sovereign citizen because the rule of law has to be performed. See, a lot of you think that submitting yourselves, oh man, I submitted myself to the jurisdiction if I go in there and make a plea. That's not true. It's not. We got to stop saying that shit. Stop saying that, oh, I went in there and I told them I'm not here to make a plea and I'm not here to do any of that. Listen, that's not part of the rule of law. You're not above it. The rule of law was even established by people. So why the people won't follow what they established? And according to rule of law, when you come in trying to delay court with these, you know, ridiculous procedures that you guys try to do, it's considered to be contempt of court because you're delaying court. You have a right to a speedy trial. Okay, great. So that means nobody can delay the court. The court can't even be for sale. Justice cannot be sold. It cannot be delayed. You have to know this. So going in there, if you want to be able to challenge jurisdiction in a public venue in your private capacity, I'm going to say it again. How do you challenge jurisdiction in a public venue in your private capacity? Drop some comments and put how. I'll answer you. Drop your comments and say how, and I will answer you again. How do you go into a public venue and assert your private rights and capacity? It's real simple, but you got to read the rules first. And the first rule is the Constitution's. Everything else has to be in harmony with it. Everything. Right? So, the first thing one can do and only do is when you go to an arraignment, some of you, in certain arraignments, they have what you call, you can plead guilty, not guilty, or nolo contendere, or you can do, which means no contest, or you can do, in certain, they still have what they call plea of demurrer. Now, if they don't have a plea of demurrer, then what they're saying is that you can reach those things that you want to have through discovery, through the rule of law. So here's the thing. Okay? No, you do not question the authority they have to charge a living man. So let's take this out of it. Let me explain this to y'all too. This whole living man woman type thing. Okay? The rule of law in the arraignment is to see the plea. Are you guilty or not guilty? And like I said, it could be no contest. But in some courts, they have what they call the plea of demurrer. And demurrer itself is it's a right, it's a form of a right that you get to exercise, right? So if they abolish that, in some states they have abolished demurrer. Now it allows them to place it in another perspective. So they'll place it in the rule of law. And it's usually, it is in discovery. So what we're saying, because what we can do in a plea of demurrer is literally a full-fledged out just challenge the jurisdiction, asking certain questions. But if they don't have it, now it's done through your discovery. So when we first get into court, the only thing you have to do is say this. They're going to ask you, they're going to tell you the charges. They'll call the name. They'll tell you the charges. And you'll be sitting there, and a lot of you guys will say, I'm the agent, and I'm this, and I'm that, the beneficiary, and all of that old good stuff, right? But here's the thing. All of that's already known. You ain't got to tell nobody out there. The thing is we don't know you by who you say you are. We know you by the things you do. I want everybody to understand that. I don't know you by who you open your mouth and say that you are. I know you by your actions. I know you by the fruit that you bear according to your actions. That's how I know you. That's how I'm going to know if you're really who you say you are. So when you come in here, then you should really truly understand the rule of law and to understand that, hey, okay, I'm going to say I am not guilty. And somebody's going to say right now, oh man, you just submitted yourself to the jurisdiction. Okay, if I'm not guilty and I'm explaining me being not guilty, how am I submitting myself to the jurisdiction? Because I'm saying there is no jurisdiction here because I'm not guilty. The reason why cases get dismissed because they start lacking jurisdiction. They don't have the evidence to prove. If they don't have the evidence to prove, that takes away subject matter jurisdiction. If you take away subject matter jurisdiction, now you take away territorial and personal jurisdiction. It's just that simple. Saying not guilty does not submit you. You're actually saying there is no jurisdiction here at all for you because I'm not guilty. Now, it could be I'm not guilty based upon what? Violation of due process of law. And if there's any form of violation of due process of law, then that automatically means there is no subject matter here, there's no personal matter, and there's no territorial jurisdiction here whatsoever. So after that, we'll go home. We'll do an affidavit. An affidavit is considered facts and evidence. This is your private right to do so. But this is where you have to assert your right and protect it. Nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to assert it, meaning you have to speak on it. It has to be considered facts and evidence. So good. Let's use the law. All right. Let's use the law. Something as small as a traffic ticket. You guys will literally go into this court and they will put y'all ass in jail because y'all going in there with all that old crazy sovereign citizen crap. And you don't have to use that. Use the rule of law. The number one thing about those courts, they are inferior courts. They are bench trial courts, and they are also considered criminal procedures, prosecutions, right? If you ask, and the Sixth Amendment says you have the right to know the nature, okay, of the cause here. So it's criminal. If it's criminal, then all criminal prosecutions have to go through a speedy and public trial in an impartial jury trials. It cannot be a bench trial. Now, the only way the bench trial get to exist is because you waived the use of the right. It doesn't mean that you lose it. You just didn't use it. So you have to assert it. In your affidavit, it needs to be known. Number one, name any violations that has taken place with you and the officer during the time of you being pulled over. Number two, make sure that we let it be known the jurisdiction that the court lacks, because it's a limited jurisdiction and does not have the ability to do what? Have an impartial jury. The procedures, if you continue to move further with these procedures, it will cause irreparable harm against you. It takes away your right of due process of law to have a what? Impartial jury, since this is considered a criminal prosecution. So now you have to use those three contracts I was saying. Use the U.S. Constitution and your state constitution and the actual rule of law. All three, which is the procedures of the court. Use all three to your advantage. You will definitely win. At least preserve the record is what you want to do. So now we got the affidavit clearly stating these particular things. And now we're going to do, the first thing we want to do is a motion to dismiss. So the affidavit and the motion to dismiss, it's clearly, family, challenging jurisdiction. That's all. You don't go in there with just an affidavit. Just filing an affidavit is not enough. It's just evidence. What do you want the court to do based off the evidence that you have filed into court? What do you want to happen? So in this affidavit, we asserted our private capacity and rights. And now we're in the public venue and we want this to happen here. The only way to get the court to do something for you, you have to move the court. You have to move it. Motion. A lot of you should know a lot about this, especially when it comes to in religion. If you have ever been the head over some type of department within your church and y'all had to go in and open up a meeting, they open up the meeting and then they start making motions and stuff like that to move the venue to have to do something. They have a vote, do all of that type of stuff, right? So you should know a little bit about that. Some of you should, some of you don't, right? Same type of situation. Move the court. Motion to dismiss. Now, some of y'all be like, oh, they don't be hearing that crap. Hey, it doesn't matter. You heard it. God heard it. Remember, words, vibration, frequency, energy. Words are spells, are binding. We are bound to these words, and so are they, the ones who took the oath. By the words, they restricted themselves to. Use it. Now, if they don't want to hear the motion to dismiss, now we can do a motion to reconsider. Just give them a chance. If they don't want to do motion, if they deny the motion to reconsider, cool. Let's go into motion of discovery. So now we want this particular court to prove how it has the power to give a impartial jury trial or even deny you a impartial jury trial. Prove it. We also want to prove that the officer has to prove that it had its particular license and bond and has taken the oath of the Constitution to be able to operate in the capacity that they're operating in. We want to make sure everybody's valid, including the actual, the judge, the prosecutor, everybody that's involved in the venue. We just want to make sure everybody has the right to operate here today. All right? So now we're challenging the court based upon due process. We're also making records of wanting to see certain things from every officer of the court to make sure that they are all operating lawfully. All right? Now, not only that, we have the power to go up to a higher court and say, hey, this lower court is not proving jurisdiction. Okay? And they're trying to continue on to a trial, a bench trial, when I have the right to an impartial jury. So this is a petition of prohibition. So anytime we go to the higher courts, which are appellate courts, we want them to do equity because we want them to perform something on our behalf. Simple. Because they're violating the rules here. So we want a prohibition to stop. They have to literally dismiss their case. And then if they want to, they can bring it back up within a state venue in the right particular court for it to be heard amongst a jury. If they do not do that, then they're still in violation of due process of law. The only thing that the appellate court care about is fact and law. The fact and law. Law meaning due process of law. Is it being followed? So a lot of you say, oh, they ignore it. Denying is not ignoring. Ignoring is not answering you. So if they don't answer you at all, just smile, guys, because you won. You already won, right? Just go in there and say, do a motion to reconsider and say, hey, I think we should have a hearing pretty much on this particular motion, because if you continue the trial without having a hearing on this motion, well, that's going to be violating due process of law, and you have been warned. And that also means you are operating outside of your boundaries and your oath, which means now you are no longer under immunities. You have none anymore because you're doing this maliciously after I've already presented the law to you. The law is right here in your face. and you're still choosing to act in malice. That's what you're doing. We got them. Simple. Now all we got to do is make sure we preserve the record. Let's say they go on and have the trial anyway. Cool, great. Just be prepared. We're going straight to the appellate court. As soon as we get to the appellate court, here's the record. And they're going to look at it and they're going to say, wow, they didn't have a hearing on this motion to dismiss, nor the motion for production. They didn't do any of that. This is a violation of due process of law. So they're going to reverse it and dismiss the case. We just asserted our private right and capacity in a public venue. Is what we did. We win. It's that simple. You don't got to go in there hollering out all of this stuff because it has no meaning if you don't operate according to the law. I've seen people stand all the way back, don't want to. Oh, well, yeah. If you walk in there and you get and stand into the in the podium and all of that, then you enter in onto the ship, and now they got you in their jurisdiction. And no, it does not work like that at all. None whatsoever. Now, we're going to take it a step further. Now, since we know that we were given a legal fiction, and this legal fiction is used to operate with the United States for benefits and also in the commercial venue. So what we can do is take this legal fiction and all of its assets and anything that it may own and have rights or interest to, and literally place it into a trust. So now I'm taking y'all up on a little bit more advanced level, right? Step it up some. Let's go up a little bit more. Now I place it into the trust. That means now I have the right to place the human capital into this trust, because the human capital is what your straw man, legal fiction character is using. It's using your resource to operate within its system, because you're the one that has to go and give energy. You're the one that's going to have to sign. You're the authorized representative, as is stated on the actual Social Security card. So it's using your human capital. We can literally take that same human capital and place it into a trust, give it value, and also we can take the trust and the legal fiction and do an actual security agreement. And the trust duty is to administrate for it, okay? Also protect its rights and interests, and also act in a form of suretyship for this particular legal fiction. And the legal fiction promise and gives in collateral for the service all of its property, tangible and intangible, right? So now we have it in both ways. We have it, one, by legal title, all right, which is your conveyance of putting it into the trust. Two, we also have it by security agreement, by in commercial value. So now the only thing we have to do is, once we get the security agreement, is go create the UCC. UCC 1. We're just going to perfect it. I don't need anything else but the security agreement. That's all I need. I can literally file that or make note of it. Some states don't let you completely file the whole or upload the document. That's cool. You don't have to. The trust can be the secured party creditor. The legal fiction is the actual debtor, because it owes these particular things, right? In collateral for the service of the trust. So now what we have here is, we know that these courts create what you call surety bonds. And these surety bonds have interest, dividends, and principal payouts. Okay? So now we also know that you can take your name and you can trademark the name, the legal fiction name. You can trademark it. You can literally place it into your trust. That property is yours now. So now any and everybody that uses that name has to have permission from the trust to use and or pay the value of for the use of that particular property. So let's say the court now is using the name that you have trademarked. The trust has the right in its private capacity. We're not talking about the public venue. We'll get to that in a second. The trustee now has the right to send a notice of secured interest, okay, and also a notice of liability to the clerk of the court for the use of the asset and the name of the actual trust, right? So now it's going to send an invoice. We're going to send a notice of liability and of secured interest as well, okay? So once we do that, we've let it be known and laid our claim. We can also send the UCC one with it to let them know that, hey, we have first in right, first in time to any and all dividends, interest, and principal payouts that's related to this entity. So before the court can get paid, it has to pay us first, because we can go and look and see that the court does not have a lien on this particular individual. Do a UCC 11 search, it's not there. Only one that's going to have the highest claim is you. Nobody else is going to have this claim, right? So now, from that perspective, we also can give the legal title coming from the trust, which is the conveyance, and showing that the trust has rights and interests in this property. So we've done it by equity and trust, and we also doing it by commerce. Two ways, right? Now, that's just privately sending it. Now, in order to operate according to the public venue, the trustee has to do one thing. Drop some ones. Let me know y'all still with me. If you want to know, put what? Put what? Just say what. What does the trustee have to do? When you trademark, do you use your middle name? I mean, I would prefer that you do, because if someone does, then, hey, they have to use the name. What does the trustee have to do? Well, according to the rules and procedures of the court, the trustee has to do a motion to intervene. So you will literally do a motion to intervene because you're watching, okay? You're watching them use private property of the trust. Now the trust has an interest. So the trustee does a motion to intervene, and all we got to do is show the legal title. We can show the actual security agreement and the UCC 11 to enter in as evidence, and also a certificate of title. All of these are evidence and enough evidence to prove that the trust has interest. So now in this, we get to ask for them to produce the delegation of authority, which gave them the right to use trust property. Also, the delegation of, let's see, what else we got the right to do? Oh, we also need them to show proof of the accounting. Because if these bonds has been created in the use of the name, okay, if that's the simple case, then hey, we got interest here. All dividends, interest, and principal payouts belong to the trust right now. We need that. So when we do that, we just asserted not only just your living being rights, but also the trust rights and interests that it has on the commercial side and level, that it also gets to operate according to the rule of law, use the motion to intervene, make these simple claims, do a discovery, and tell them to prove it on the record. Public and private. They literally operate parallel to one another. You have to know how to do both. Literally at the same time. What's up, Residual Joe? Yeah, y'all go check out my bro, Residual Joe, man. Great dude. Literally can show you how to exercise the courts, use the rule of law, use these contracts as the Constitution, state constitutions, rule of law, etc. Right? He can show you. I've seen him do it. So when I'm telling you guys, it's real. But you guys are going there and say, hey, I'm this, I'm that, and it's not going to get you anywhere because you're going to get held in contempt because you're not using the rule of law. And here's the thing. You can't consider yourself as the people as being sovereign, and you don't even know your own damn laws. These contracts are yours. The Constitution, it's for your benefit. Exercise it. The state, the United States, the state, you know what I'm saying? It's all for you. It's yours. Not only that, the actual court rules and procedures, it's yours. Y'all keep saying the people the one started this. Okay, if the people the one started it and used it, okay, well, use what the people done. It's yours to do so. But you can't go in there and say you are the people and then go in there and do everything that says that you're against the people. It's stupid. Hey, God, come in here and I challenge jurisdiction. That's what they say. I'm not the name. I'm not this person. And then as soon as you say you're not such and such, guess what they're going to do? Failure to appear, put a warrant out for this person's arrest. They will play the game with you that way. And then guess what they're doing? They got the right to do it too because they're using the rule of law against you. You see what I'm saying? It's just that simple. So that's why I'm telling you guys, literally, go into the actual court. When you say not guilty, because y'all will say, oh, when you plead not guilty, no, it don't, because not guilty just literally means that you're saying there's no subject matter here. If there's no subject matter, there's no jurisdiction. So now we just got to prove it on the record that it's not. How do we prove it? Easily. And we'll start with due process as the easiest thing to prove. You're still operating according to the private capacity, asserting your rights in a public venue. That's all we doing. You don't have to go in there saying something about the name and this and all of that. You don't, it's pointless. Stay within the rule of law and ask those type of questions in a very strategic way. Because all we got to do is ask. If they say something, okay, let's do a motion of let's do a discovery. Produce it. Interrogatories, depositions. We get to asked all the questions because anything that they have to say that they have to evidence against you, they got to reveal every single thing and also what we asked for. Right? That's what we got to do. So we just got to be more mindful. We can't come out here talking about I'm the sovereign people, and then the people don't even use their own damn rule of law. We shot out. You got a cop that has a fictitious speed ticket up on me. Okay, let me ask you this question then, K. Cannon. Is it a city? It's from a city or it's from the county? Which one is it? City. So guess what? That city is a municipal court and they can only have a bench trial. So since you're dealing with the city, the first thing you need to do is go in there and then you need to tell them, just plead not guilty because that's the first thing they're going to do. If they ask you for what reason, you say for violation of due process of law, and this court lacks the jurisdiction to give an impartial jury. Simple. Right? As soon as you say that, they're going to look at you eyes wide open. They're going to look at you with their eyes wide open. All right? So once you get done with your arraignment, the next thing you go and do, you take affidavit, place your affidavit on the record, and in your affidavit, state who you are. You can put your political status and everything on there. Also, put on there what actually happened. You need to be aware of the rules and procedures, due process of law. Did the officer violate due process of law during that particular time? Place that on the record as well, and in your affidavit, and also make sure that we put on there first, use the Sixth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, saying all criminal prosecution, uh, you will have the right to be afforded a speedy and public trial amongst a impartial jury. So use that. Use the state constitution that you are in as well. Use it. They took an oath to it. You just need to learn how to use it. So go find the same thing that says that these criminal prosecutions, you have the right to an impartial jury. Anything that's dealing with your liberties in any shape, form, or fashion can only be literally taken from you in and only through due process of law. All right? So when you do it in that way, just sit back and just wait. Because now they have to have a hearing on your motion to dismiss. So now we're going to do a motion to dismiss, okay, based upon these particular things I just stated. We'll start with that. If they choose to carry on and deny your motion to dismiss, then we're going to go right into a motion of production. We want these things to be produced. We want the city to show what law or what delegation of authority do they have, okay, to violate your due process, your right to due process of law. We want to see the law that was given or amendment made to the constitutions. We want to be made aware of that. They need to produce that. Not only that, we also want to put in a production to make sure that the officer who gave you the ticket, we want them to also to produce their actual oath, their bond, etc., to make sure that they were at the time of even detaining you, were in their right capacity, lawfully. That's another thing. We also, since you said it's a speeding ticket, we also want them to produce for the record that the speed gun was calibrated that day. If it was not calibrated that day, then guess what? How can he be sure it was accurate? That's another thing to play. So we got 3 to 4 things just through production we can ask for that they're not going to be able to. 2 of them I know for sure they can't answer. And if they failed up under the calibration, et cetera, that's also another one, right? So right there, that alone, and all we're doing in the midst of this is challenging jurisdiction. That's it. So you just sit back and wait. Now, if they deny your motions, don't worry about it. It's cool. You preserved it for the record. If they ignore it, don't say anything, and try to move on to a trial, we need to go straight immediately to the appellate court. Or before then, though, if they deny your motion, do a motion to reconsider. All right, and then add a judicial notice with it on why. And the judicial notice should state about your right to an impartial jury. And they only have limited jurisdiction to give a bench trial. So these procedures will literally violate you. So now we need to be able to go straight above and go to the appellate court. When we get to the appellate court, we're going to do a petition for prohibition against the lower court from exercising these procedures that is going to cause irreparable harm against you. That's what we want to do, right? And then only thing you have to do in proving that petition court, one, that you asserted in your affidavit, you did a motion to dismiss for it, and you did a motion of production for them to produce it on the record to show that they have the delegation of authority. So basically, we already exhausted our remedies in that particular lower court. So to continue to stop them from taking you through this particular trial, we need to immediately go to the appellate court for a petition of prohibition. And what that will do, it will stop them from continuing these procedures. They will literally have to dismiss that case. Do not wait. You do not have to go through a whole entire court and receive any form of harm. Nobody does, right? This is what you have to do. You can win. I got faith that you can win. Literally. What house are you under? Well, we on here talking about a whole lot of stuff. Somebody got to say, what house are you under? The house of God. That's how you would handle this. Will we approach the situation differently if we're dealing with the county instead of the city? It just depends, because even certain counties only hold bench trials. They do not have jury trials. It depends on what form of venue do they have you in. Most speeding tickets will only go to the smaller inferior courts, and they only have usually bench trials. So all you gotta do is ask. Go in there and ask them the nature of the nature of the cause. If they say criminal prosecution, you say, hey, does this court have, since this is a criminal prosecution, does this court have the power to give me a speedy and public trial with an impartial jury? If they say no, we only do bench trial here, then you're going to say, well, I asked that this court to be dismissed because this court lacks the jurisdiction and the power to give you due process of law. I mean, it's just you knowing. It's not nothing different. You can just ask. Ask the questions. They told me I have to pay $22 for a jury. Yeah, they can't sell you justice. So you need to go look that up. You need to go look that particular part up because let me show you what I mean by that. Let me show you. It don't matter if it's a criminal misdemeanor or nothing. See, you got to understand, Ken, that it says all, ALL, all prosecutions. It didn't say some. It said all. So, in Section 13, I'm going to use the Alabama Constitution. It says courts to be open, remedies for all injuries. So first it's going to let us know courts to be open. Then it says remedies for all injuries is next. And then the impartiality of justice. So it says that all courts shall be open. That's the first thing. And that every person for any injury done him in his lands, goods, person, or reputation shall have a remedy by due process of law. And right and justice shall be administered without sale. Without sale. So they can't charge you $22 to exercise a right that you have. Does that make sense? How are they going to charge you $22? Ask yourself that question. Because that would literally be administering with stale. So they're gonna set, unless you got 20, they're trying to tell you if you ain't got $22, you can't have a jury. So you can find, it's in Texas Constitution. They have to do this. So, and it says they cannot be denial, they can't deny you or delay you. And this is what happens when y'all go in them courts and y'all start talking that sovereign citizen shit. You delay court, so now you gonna be held in contempt of court. So make sure you understand that you let them know that justice is to be administered without sale. You can literally find that in the state constitution as well. And then remember, you have a right. Also, we also have a right to petition the government for any form of redress and grievances, et cetera, that we may have. So it says a right. It don't say a privilege. A privilege is, man, if you ain't got $400 something $32, then you can't come for this court, or they dismissed your case because you didn't have $400 something, or that they trying to make you plead to a what they call it, what's the word? Informal paupers. That's what they have. Right? Is it smart to plead not guilty by phone? It doesn't matter. You can plead not guilty by phone, in person, whatever you're gonna do. Just make sure you know how to exercise everything else on why you're not guilty. Because your job in saying you're not guilty is literally to show that there's no jurisdiction. Because when you say you're not guilty, you're actually challenging jurisdiction from that point on. If you take away the subject matter, then there's no personal or territorial. Because personal is no reason for you to even be there in the court. Territorial meaning that if there's no subject matter, nothing ever happened in the territory for you to even be there. So now they don't have jurisdiction. You remove one, you remove all. That's a fact. So, you guys been listening to me for an hour today. So I'm going to help you guys out. I got a class for you guys, July 26th. Okay? And there's a discount here for you guys that's going to happen. You can do this live stream or in person. We're actually going to be in Fort Walton Beach, family, right next to Destin, Florida. If you want to learn how to do everything I said and also use a trust and trust administration, when I say trust administration, the Constitution is a trust. When I say trust administration, the rules and procedures of the court is a trust. Okay? It's $200 for the live stream, $250 in person. But if you're going to do it on live stream, what I'm going to do for you guys today is I'm literally going to give this to you by discount on this today. All right. So if you want to receive the discount on this, it is I'm going to drop it down to $125. So, and this is for reciprocation of you guys taking your time to listen to me. And now I'm going to reciprocate that energy. So just make sure you send an email to admin@ingodwetrustacademy.org. Again, that's admin@ingodwetrustacademy.org. And what you will do is you go there and you put discount. Okay? $125. That's the trust administration class. All right? And I'm also going to give you a discount on the hidden ledger class. This is about banking. So this is about you knowing your deposits. And if you understand fractional reserve banking, if you don't, we'll talk about that later on tonight. So log in with us. But it's basically when you deposit your monies, they get to do fractional reserve banking, which means if you put $100 in, they get to create 1,000. That's $900 in equity. Okay. But you guys do interest bearing account. So they give you a certain amount of interest based upon the deposits that you put into your actual account. And then what they do from that point on is give you guys maybe 20 cents, 30 cents, 50 cents, whatever at the end of the year. But if you do a non-interest bearing account with the trust, you get to determine your own terms for the use of the trust property on how much money that is. And it's always going to be times 10. So do understand that. But also, this is going to be $125 for you guys. We'll be in Missouri City, Texas, which is right next to Houston, Texas, about 15, 20 minutes, something like that. But it's all right there in the same facility. All right. So you guys are welcome to this. This is just going to be $125. And make sure you send to admin@ingodwetrustacademy.org. Put discount $125. Okay. You have until 12 a.m. tonight to do this. Again, 12 a.m. tonight to do this. That's on both classes. All right. So, yeah, you can tell your people or anybody else that's interested, they all got until 12 a.m. tonight to do so. If you want to know how to do what I'm telling you to do. But if you literally heard what I said, I already told you what to do. The only thing you guys are probably going to have a hard time with is just the actual application when writing these things. And I got all of that for you. They're going to be, for the first class, trust administration class, it's going to be 3 ebooks. So you're gonna get a trust administration ebook, an asset protection ebook, and you're also gonna get a private administration ebook. I'm still thinking about the declaration of trust. I don't know if I want to put that in there yet. Just depends. We'll see how great of your participation will I add that in there. But for the most part, we probably will. All right. But I know that I'm going to add it to the hidden ledger classes for sure. But those are, and that's like 3 classes in one. So do understand that. A lot of information, but it requires your due diligence. I'm not somebody, as I just sit here and told you every single thing. So I'm not somebody just what you call gatekeeping. I'm going to give it all to you because it's not my responsibility to hold your hand and make you do it. Here you go. It's yours. Pass it on to your family. Do what you guys want to do with it from there. From that point on, totally up to you. Have I done a lot of this? Yes, I've done everything I've said to you. I've won all my cases that I've been to that was on a criminal situation. I've literally won a case where I dealt with a bank. I can't really say the bank's name because of NDAs, but yeah, I beat that bank and end up getting the car from that for like $25, doing the accord and satisfaction procedure and just exercising law. I've also helped others throughout evictions, through foreclosures, through other traffic tickets, you name it, drug cases, DUI cases, man, child support, that's easy. Child support, too easy. Yeah, that's way too easy. All you need to do is know the rules and exercise it, right? Is the hidden ledger 125 for in person? No, it's still going to be 250 because if you come in person, you're going to pretty much eat. So we're going to serve you, et cetera. So you're not just paying for the class. It's also going to come with other things, food, things like that as well, too. So we just try to, and also the ability to network with others that you're there with. There will be vendors. Anybody want to be a vendor there, do hit us up as well. We'll make sure that you guys are able to do vendorship, okay? If you're interested in that. Coming in person is always greater, though, I promise you, because I love the fellowship. I love to fellowship. I would like to see a lot of people in Florida, if possible. If not, I'll catch you guys on the live stream, and, hey, we'll just enjoy whoever's there, and who's not, we'll enjoy you from afar, but we're still going to get the energy. Yes, everything comes with replays, templates, everything. If you know you're not going to be able to attend that day, listen, still go ahead and lock in your discount and go in and get it now because you're still going to get the replay and templates, okay? Right now, this class is very cheap. Most of my classes are, for the majority. When I do them, they're usually $100, $200, something of that nature. And I usually allow you 3 months or so to gather yourself together, to get that together and you know, continue the courses. But after that, they go up. So always shop with me and do it with me. Now we do thousands and thousands of free classes all the time. Every Mondays, Wednesdays, we're going to start back work session. So you guys are going to want to be a part of that. And we're going to literally just show you how to do things. Work sessions is free. We usually spend 2 to 3 hours. So doing this, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook, and we are on here with you guys at TikTok, right? So just know, yes, this video is going to stay up. I'm not going to take it down. All right. For you guys on TikTok right now, you can go to In God We Trust Academy on our YouTube channel, and then you can see other videos there and also be able to have a replay of what we just watched today. So you can be more informed. And if there's something that you want to do, interested in, locking in with us as well, please do so. We do have free giveaways. There will be a few free giveaways for this class and the Hidden Ledger class as well. So just make sure you stay tuned with us every time we go live, much as possible. Catch the discounts, catch the benefits, and also just catch the gems of everything that's going on as can be done. All right. What can be done to stop and get money back from child support? I take care and don't need no state making me. Simple. All you got to do is go know. Only thing you need to know is this. The Child Support Enforcement Agency is literally a private form of a corporation that does private contracts with the prosecutor, the judge, the clerk, any form of detectives or any other private corporations that they may enter into. with. So if a judge literally just by placing you on child support gets paid, that literally means that the judge's order is considered to be null and void. It's not voidable, it's already null and void. Okay? They have no power to do so because they have an interest in the case. And since you acted upon that interest, upon their fraudulent activity, now you're able to literally go and have that dismissed, and all money that you are involved in or paid into, you can literally have that brought back to you based upon the actual fraudulent activities that you acted upon, right? If you know that. And what I just told you is just that. The judge get paid. He has an interest in the case. How can he give an order? How can he sit there? Any of that. Right? Every time. So you can get rid of child support just off that. But it's up to you to know that. And you have to use the rules of the courts and be done with it. So if you already on it, you can go do a motion to vacate the judgment order. And here's why. And you can say, put in that motion, that the judge has a private contract with the Child Support Enforcement Agency and all these other officers as anybody else is involved. That's it. Or you can go do an injunction. If you don't want to open that case back up, go do an injunction, make that individual, the judge, etc., come to the injunction and prove it. That's all you got to do. Because now you get to do a full motion of discovery, and now that judge and anybody else that was involved in that particular case has to prove that they don't have an interest in it. What if the same judge answers, replies, and denies? Well, that means you, Punch God, don't understand that you are not in an impartial tribunal. Right? That's just one of the things. So you need to fully exercise that. And you need to be willing to take anything that we're talking about right now, guys. You need to, one, have a plan to be able to take it to the Supreme Court. Not just the Supreme Court of your state, but all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States. You need to be ready to do that. If you don't have a plan to do that, and that's how I think all the way to the end zone, right? We need to make sure that we got, because if you look at it, like they got most of these particular football teams, et cetera, they know for a fact that they want to run 65 plays. 60-something plays a game. They already got those plays lined out, how they want to run it. And then according to the course of the game, then they'll kind of make a few adjustments and stuff like that, but still going to want to run 60-something plays. So we need to have that same type of mindset when it comes to our rights. We need to be willing to know the whole full playbook that it's going to take to make it all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. And when we know that and do that, we're prepared for any and everything that comes towards you. Right? That's what you need to do. So with that being said, guys, let's see, it's 3:30, 3:30 now. So I'll say give me about 6, 7. We'll be right back on here again. So if this is your first time, like, share, subscribe, guys, and be ready to get back on here. We'll have maybe a few giveaways with some things on the website. The Mastering Lawsuit and Defend and Conquer. Yeah, we're going to do a actual deal on that to do as well. But you're going to have to be watching. If you're not watching, you're not going to get it. Those are some very great classes that will show you literally how to go and use the court and in your favor at all times as well. So I'll catch you guys, man, in about 4 hours. Lock in with me, man. Peace, love, and law. Y'all have a great and beautiful day if I don't see you guys.